I will start by using shapes, which can be found just below the black arrow here, called the Direct Select tool. There's a rectangular shape. If I click and hold on that, you'll see that there are other shape tools in this slot. I'm going to choose the Custom Shape tool because that gives me access to a whole bunch of other shapes that I can find here in the Options palette by clicking on this Shape pull-down menu. You'll see the shapes that I have currently loaded in my pull-down menu. Yours may differ, or you may not have as many. And if you want to load in more sets of shapes, you would click on the circle arrow here, which reveals a menu where I can access other sets of shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Banners and Awards and click on that. I will be prompted to either add those shapes to the end of this list of shapes or to replace the shapes that are currently in this list. I'm going to go ahead and append, which is adding them to the end of this list of shapes. And so there are my banner shapes. So now I just need to choose a shape to draw with. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this. And having done that, I then come down here in the Options palette and select a color. By clicking on this color swatch, I get the color picker. I'm able to drag these sliders to choose a different hue and drag this circle in here to choose a different value and saturation for that hue. So I'll stop here and click OK. Now I can click and drag anywhere on the canvas to create that shape. You'll see that I get kind of a wireframe as I am dragging this out, and holding down the Shift key on my keyboard actually constrains the width and height dimensions, so it keeps it in a square format. Now that I've done that, you'll see that my layer here shows a color fill thumbnail, that's where the purple came from, and the shape thumbnail. So the shape thumbnail is really what defines this image here. And currently it looks like there's a little bit of a jagged edge around the edges of this shape, and that's because it's showing it up as a wireframe because it is selected here in the layer palette. Let me show you what I mean. I will click on the zoom tool and click once on the canvas to zoom in on the canvas a little better and see more up close what the wireframe part of this shape looks like. Let me go back to my shape tool before I zoom in again accidentally. And you'll see the wireframe shows. Now if I click away, if I deselect this shape thumbnail here, the wireframe goes away. So you see when you click on the thumbnail, the wireframe shows. That means this shape is selected. You can edit it in some way. You can move it. You can scale it and do other things. Or if I click again, it is not selected. You'll see that when I do select it, a little border will appear around it here in the layer palette. And when it's not selected, that border will not appear. So that's really important because you have to target a shape in order to do something with it. And the things we can do are move it, and to do that I have to select this black arrow. The black arrow selects shapes. It doesn't select pixels, it only selects shapes. So once I click on this shape on my canvas, you'll see all the little points and all the little paths that compose this shape. They're now visible. I can move this around. I can actually move it anywhere on the canvas, and if I wanted to now scale it or rotate it, I can go to the Edit menu while it is still selected. Go to the Edit menu, I'll choose Transform Path, and I have all these options for scaling or for transforming. Rotate, skew, distort, and so on. So I'll choose Scale for now. And having done that, you don't see a huge difference with this particular image, but what has happened is a transformation rectangle is now surrounding this entire image. And these handles, these corner handles, are now, you can select them and drag them to scale this image. Horizontally, vertically, or both at the same time if I wanted to. If I want to constrain the proportions of this shape and keep it as it is, I'd hold the Shift key and drag the shape. And if I wanted to say rotate this shape, I would go back to the Edit menu, down to Transform Path, and this time I would choose Rotate. And now as I move my cursor outside the corners or sides of this shape, you'll see I get a rounded arrow, double-headed arrowhead. I can click, hold my mouse button down, and drag up or down, and now I am rotating this shape. And again, I can click inside of it to move it and continue to rotate as I need to or want to. I can't scale it at this point, but I can rotate it. And if I wanted to be able to scale it and rotate it, I can go back to the Edit menu, choose this option called Free Transform Path. This will give me access to any of these transformation options. So I will choose this one. You'll notice that there is a keyboard shortcut for the Mac, which is a Command T. For the PC, it would be Control T. And I will choose that for now, and you'll see that I can not only rotate, with Free Transform, I can also grab the handles and scale. And using modifier keys on the keyboard, I can do things like distort. Holding down just the Command key on a Mac or just the Control key on a PC lets me drag any handle to scale and adjust just that handle. Holding down the Command and the Option keys together on a Mac or the Control and Alt keys on a PC lets me pull opposite corners closer and further apart. And holding down just the Option key on the Mac or just the Alt key on the PC will let me drag this from the center and actually flip it and do a number of other things. That's an interesting look. And when I'm done, I hit the Enter key or Return key on my keyboard, and that sets the transformation in place. And you'll see I still see those wireframe handles, so I deselect the shape thumbnail here in the layer palette, and now you can see my shape.